Hey, what's going on guys, it's Suzy and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, and today we're talking about the absolute generational run the show Welcome to Derry's on right now. And if you guys don't know, it's a prequel to the 2017 It movie, taking place in the 1962 cycle, 27 years from It Chapter 1. And look, I'm gonna say it, Welcome to Derry is absolute peak. Yes, everybody clap for me. It was very brave of me to say that. Everybody clap. Yes, I know. No, but in all seriousness though, the show is great. And this video is going to be pretty unscripted. I'm pretty much just going to yap about how much I like this series because I pretty much did the same thing for my Chainsaw Man movie review, and you guys seem to enjoy that, so I guess I'll do that for this video as well. And I won't be talking about any major plot details either, except for episode 1, because I think a lot of the things that happen in episode 1 are very important to how I feel about the show overall. But anything after that, I'm not talking about, so if you watched episode 1, you're pretty much safe for any spoilers. So without further ado, let's get into it.
A smile is something special, a ribbon is something rare, so I'll be special and I'll be rare.
First, let's talk about the writing, because the writing is absolutely excellent in this series. Everything in this show weaves together so nicely and nothing ever feels wasted. It's built up enough trust over the past 5 episodes to where I know that if it shows something in an earlier episode, it's going to matter in the episodes to come. And I really like that. You know, sometimes shows and movies don't do that and they just show you things to get a reaction, but this is actually puts things in the show and they actually really do matter in the future, and I really enjoy that. Another great example of the writing in the show is in episode 1, and this is my major spoiler warning for episode 1, so if you haven't watched episode 1, time to go bye-bye. But what the writers do that's so smart is that the original cast that you meet in episode 1, most of them get brutally fucking murdered by Pennywise. And look, I don't enjoy it because I'm a sick bastard, okay? I enjoy it because it was a really good way to subvert expectations, which I think is really important for horror and actually making it scary. Because now the audience has fear of the unknown, and now it's established that anyone in this show can die at any time. Nobody's safe. Which is in stark contrast to the 2017 It movie, where the whole Losers Club basically survives. The whole original cast lives, at least in the first movie. So it subverts expectations for newcomers and fans of the franchise, but it also instills fear throughout the rest of the season because we know that Pennywise is not messing around, and you know that the characters you learn to love throughout this series might meet the same grisly end as those kids in the first episode. And that leads into my next point of the actors and the character writing. This show does a great job at making you care about the characters in this show, and that's in part because the actors are just so great and the writing is impeccable, chef's kiss. I think a perfect example of what I'm talking about right now is the Hanlon family. The dad, Leroy Hanlon, played by Hoven Adipo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is stationed in Derry because he's a military man, and he's followed by his wife Charlotte Hanlon, played by Taylor Page, and his son Will Hanlon, played by Blake Cameron. And they have to deal with being one of the only black families in 1962 Derry. Let me just say, these three do a great job at portraying a family and the things they're going through. You have Leroy Hanlon, who's a very by-the-books, follows the rule, macho man, super brave. And then you have his wife, who's also brave, but in her different ways. She's not that same follow the rules by the books, and that causes some conflict, especially with it maybe jeopardizing his military career of her revolutionary ideals. And then you have Will, the son, who doesn't really fit into the mold that his father puts him to, but Leroy still loves him nonetheless. And you have Charlotte, who sees, you know, how her boy really is, and that he's not into fishing and playing baseball, and he's more into telescopes and science and rockets, and it's just a nice family dynamic. And, you know, they have their conflicts, they have their issues, but at the end they always still love each other, and it's really nice to see. It feels like a real genuine family, and I caught myself cheesing at times, man. It got me happy, bro. It's a nice family, and that makes it even more cripplingly scary when Pennywise starts pulling up and he's like, no, please bro, don't kill them, dude, please don't kill them. And this family certainly isn't the only example of good character writing and good acting. I mean, Ronnie Grogan, played by Amanda Christine, pulls off a really great performance from the dynamic that she has with her father, Hank Grogan, played by Stephen Ryder. it's just a really good part of the show as well. And Ronnie Grogan's conflict also connects with Lily Bainbridge, who's played by Clara Stack, and this girl gets put through the ringer. I mean, you can see her on my thumbnail. She's covered in blood, she's screaming. I mean, that kind of just signifies what she goes through in this show and what she's gone through in the past. I can't get into any more because it kind of goes through spoilers, but she's a really great character and a really good actor. Also, Dick Halloran, played by Chris Chalk, is really, really good, and he has like a very commanding presence when he's on screen. It's also kind of what he does in the show, which I don't want to talk about because that leads into spoilers, but he's a very commanding presence in the show, and it feels like you know so much about him, but you also don't know what his true intentions or who he really is, what his past is, what he wants to do. A lot of his motivations, I guess, feel kind of clouded, which in my opinion makes him even more commanding on screen. So now that we're done with the character writing and the acting, let's get into some of the smaller things I really enjoy about this show. It's just two little things. First, I like how they dive deep into the lore of Pennywise and establish that he's been around for millions of years, before human beings, and he shows, how people dealt with the natives in that area, and that was really cool. I like how they dive deep into that, because most people, including myself, really didn't know that much about it and his origins unless you read the books, right? I had to do all my research when I watched the movies as a kid, and I had to look up like, how is Pennywise Pennywise? Who is Pennywise? Where did he come from? And they kind of establish this a little better in the show, which I enjoy. And it's cool, it's not just random exposition, and it ties into the show itself. Secondly, I really enjoy the setting of this show, being in the 60s, and also the symbolism of nuclear warfare, and also Pennywise and it. Right? I feel like there's definitely some symbolism of, the kids being scared of the nuclear bombs, duck and cover and all of that, and that impending doom of nuclear warfare and a Cold War, and also the same of Pennywise and feeling that impending doom and dread of Pennywise. I feel like they kind of go together, right? Of the nuclear warfare and being afraid of that and the impending doom of that, and also the impending doom that Pennywise is slowly but surely coming after you and the people you care about. I really enjoy that. And I think what really highlighted the symbolism for me was when Pennywise, when you first see him, when the kids first see him in his clown form, he's chasing after them and he says duck and cover, duck and cover, like for nuclear bombs, and they're teaching them in school what happens if a nuclear bombing happens. I find that connection to be really cool, especially as someone, for me, who's a kind of a history nerd. But also the 60s serve as a really good template, I guess the best word to say it, for social commentary, and it and Pennywise and that whole franchise has kind of always been about social commentary in some way or another, and the 60s serve, of course, as a really good way of showing social commentary, especially in America, of segregation and racism and things like that being ever prevalent. I know I said two, but I have one last thing. The camera work and the way this show looks is really good. I don't know what exactly is about it. I don't know if it's the set pieces. I think it is the set pieces. The set pieces look super real, but there's something about the colors and the way this show is shot that makes everything pop really well. I don't know what it is. I don't think I'm smart enough in cinematography to tell you what it is, but if anyone could tell me, that'd be great. But yeah, this show is pretty peak, and for all the things I said in this video, it makes me want to keep coming back and watching this show. It's only on episode 5, but I don't see any way they could really fumble this, and right now I think this could be the best show of 2025. Maybe not, but it could be. It definitely could be, depending on how it finishes out. Like, I honestly don't remember a show that I've liked this much that has episodes actively coming out. Like, of course, I like some shows better than this, but they're shows that came out years ago. It wasn't shows that were coming out every week with a new episode. But yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on the series. Welcome to Derry. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Peace, peace. Have a good one. See ya.